It's a $22 million increase from the previous year. In the Lone Star State, wide receiver George Pickens will officially be franchise tagged by the Dallas Cowboys today. And at 3:45, the Vanderbilt Commodores are in Las Vegas on the Diamond, taking on UC Irvine. You can hear coverage on 94.9 The Fan right here on the Game Nashville Sports Network.
For more, log on to thegamenashville.com. Your sports live here on the Game Nashville Sports Network.
Your sports live here. WBUZ HD3 Laverne. All around the world on the Game Nashville app. We are the Game Nashville Sports Network. ESPN 94.9 The Fan.
30 years of the best sports talk in Middle Tennessee. It's the George Plaster Show, featuring Tennessee Sports Hall of Famers Kelly Holcomb and young gun Billy Derrick. And now, here's your host, George Plaster.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome into the George Plaster Show. It is a Friday, and we're going to act like it. And it is so warm outside. Might I add, it's perfect short weather in February nonetheless. And as John Rothstein would say, we are a couple days from March. It's getting close. It's getting close to that time. We're going to have our buddy Mark Griffin on at 3:20 to help us preview an exciting weekend, yet another one in college basketball. He'll be on with us until the top of the hour. Quick programming note, as Vandy baseball has another game today at 4 o'clock this afternoon versus UC Irvine out in Las Vegas. We are going to be off the air on 94.9 starting at 3:45, and 94.9 will transition to Vandy boys baseball coverage. We will remain with you via live stream on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook up until 5 o'clock, our normal time. Lots to talk about today. The NFL Combine is underway. Linebackers and defensive linemen went yesterday. Corners and tight ends are up today. And we have quarterbacks speaking to the media. Diego Pavia, Joey Aguilar, they both spoke today. We got a tons of news and notes to get to. With that, we will head to the man sitting across from me, the director. He does not approve of my shorts, I don't think. Is that right?
Not really. It's February.
Did you feel it? How nice it felt outside, though?
Oh yeah,
it feels like summer.
Yeah. But this is a fake deal. Okay, this is not the sign that spring is here.
No,
we're a couple of weeks from that.
63 and sunny.
So yeah, no, I'm aware of that. You know, I remember. Gosh, I don't even remember what year it was now, but when the SEC tournament was in Atlanta and the tornado ripped through, and I was on like the 28th floor of the Marriott Marquis, just sitting there strumming around going, man, spring's here. It's, you know, because the Georgia Dome was a rock throw from where I was.
I missed the Georgia Dome.
And the tornado hit the Georgia Dome. And my buddy Tim Brando, it was funny because for a while they didn't really know what to be telling people. And I said to Tim later, I said, you became a minor league baseball announcer. Phil, talk. You know, we're not sending it back to the network. And so he and whoever his color announcer, I don't remember who it was. The game was Alabama, Mississippi State. And, of course, it gets stopped right in the middle. The Kentucky-Georgia game that was going to be the Friday night, you know, finale never happened. And they moved it over to Georgia Tech. Now, what that has to do with spring, probably not much of anything, but it was a good story.
Hey, I'm always down for a good story. 69 degrees on Saturday. What's the weather supposed to be in Lexington tomorrow?
I don't know. I was going to look it up in a minute. Probably a little cooler. But I wouldn't think it's, 35 and spitting snow.
Are you excited to see the new renovations inside of Rupp?
Yeah, I have not been. The last time I was in Rupp Arena, I was thinking about it earlier. Coach Newton invited me to go up. Kentucky hosted, I want to say 2003, I think, the regional. And the regional final was a game between Kent State with Antonio Gates, the Charger tight end, brilliant tight end, against Indiana, coached by Mike Davis, who played collegiately at Alabama under C.M. Newton. And we're sitting on the front row. I'll never forget, Indiana won the game to get to the Final Four. And, Mike Davis pointed over in our direction. And it certainly wasn't for me. It was to basically say thank you to Coach Newton. That's the last time I've been there.
So what year was that again?
I think it was 2003.
All right.
Either 2001 or 2003. It's been a long time since I've been there.
Well, I have one favor to ask, and that's get some ice cream, some soft serve ice cream, and let me know how it is. I've heard nothing but fantastic things. Jay Billis eats it on the broadcast all the time when he's doing Kentucky games. Him and Dan Schulman.
Yeah.
Apparently it's legit, and I've always wanted to try it. So that's my only request. Just let me know how it is.
The first time I ever went to Rupp, I was a student at Vandy, and I want to say this would have been probably 1980, and Kentucky had Sam Bowie. They were loaded.
Oh, Sam Bowie.
And Alabama beat them pretty double digits. And Alabama at the time was coached by C.M. Newton. And little did I know that 3 years later, the kind of friendship he and I would have. I mean, it's one of life's things that you're like, how did that happen?
Every time I hear Sam Bowie's name, I think of the fact that he was the one drafted before Michael Jordan. One of the biggest what ifs in history.
Well, there were two. Was there not, you may have to look this up, was there not a LaRue Martin? Why am I thinking LaRue Martin?
Yeah, you're right. Michael Jordan was taken third in that year's draft,
okay,
the 1984. But Sam Bowie was second.
Okay, who was first?
The guy you mentioned.
LaRue Martin.
I think so.
Good Lord, whatever happened to him?
Yeah. Pretty wild stuff.
Oops.
Let's get into America's favorite update because we have a big one. I write out a little bit of an outline before I do these, and this is all I put for this one. Talk about NFL draft, Sonny Styles. Holy crap. Did you hear about Sonny Styles yesterday?
No.
At the NFL Combine? Ridiculous. Jumped a 43.5-inch vertical, which was, I think, a couple inches higher than Calvin Johnson. And they're the same size, basically. I think Styles might be a little heavier. He ran a 4.46 40, and he jumped 11 feet 2 inches in the broad jump, set multiple records, and he has flown up draft boards. Now a projected top 5 pick.
So whoever's getting him is getting a real athlete.
That's right. There's a chance.
Like world class.
There's a chance that 10 in the top 10 picks, 4 of them are Ohio State players. There's a good chance. Carnell Tate, Caleb Downs, Sonny Styles, and Arvell Reese. Arvell Reese had a great day yesterday, too.
Buckeye Invitational.
That's right. I told you at the top of the show that the quarterbacks are speaking to the media today. That includes Diego Pavia. That also includes Joey Aguilar, who made it up to Indy after being denied the waiver for the extra year. Diego Pavia said that he is not going to tone down things at the Combine. He's going to be his normal self, which I applaud. It means he's being a genuine, authentic to who he is.
Okay, hold on a second, because there's 2 points to be made on that. Tempering how he plays, absolutely not. I mean, that's what made him great.
The extracurricular.
Yeah, it's the nightlife, F-bombing Indiana that is the deal. And hopefully he'll stay on the straight and narrow, whatever the press conference stuff is.
We were talking about this yesterday with the quarterbacks. Ty Simpson spoke to the media, said he is set to prove that he's a franchise quarterback. Typical things that you would expect to hear. He had high praise for the New York Jets, who are picking it too. Apparently the Jets loved him as well. And isn't that ironic? because we were talking about the Jets' need for a quarterback.
Well, now the report card will come due in April under the how in love are they with him? We'll find out then.
By the way, did you
For
see?
now, this is all a bunch of babble.
Did you see the video of Aaron Glenn yesterday falling asleep at the combine?
No.
It was so. If you get some extra time, go watch it. He fell asleep while watching.
That's a great look.
And then he had to be woken up.
By whom?
It was. I don't know, man. Worst nap ever. I bet that was the worst nap ever. The NFL salary cap hits a milestone $301.2 million for 2026. First time it's ever topped $300 million, and it's a $22 million increase since last year. It's increased 40% since COVID.
Wow. Business is good.
Business is good. There are not many businesses that operate like the NFL in sports. Oh, George, you're going to get a kick out of this. I swear these jokes write themselves. It's not a joke, but you're going to get where I'm going with this. Falcons assistant LaTroy Lewis has been fired. He was the assistant defensive line coach amid sexual assault allegations from an incident on December 5th, 2024, when he was on the Michigan football staff.
Wow.
Nothing more needs to be said about that.
No.
Donald Trump and the Power 4 Conference commissioners are expected to join dozens of sports celebrities and dignitaries on March 6th at the White House in a roundtable discussion about the future of college athletics. This was broken by Yahoo Sports and confirmed by ESPN.
Well, it's a system that needs some help, as Lee Fowler pointed out yesterday. If any of you did not hear the segment that I did with Lee Fowler, it would be around 4:25 yesterday. Go back and listen to it.
It was phenomenal.
Because he put some stuff out there about schools and their budget issues that was really alarming.
And I don't know what all this meeting is going to entail, but there has been the NCAA and Charlie Baker have basically called upon congressional intervention. So we'll see if that actually goes anywhere. Charles Bediako has made an appearance again. Reported by Trey Wallace that the Alabama Supreme Court has denied the motion for Charles Bediako to play immediately for Alabama while his appeal was being heard. He is not eligible again.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of ask yourself, okay, how many times are we going to have this little soap opera? I thought the one earlier where his legal team went to the judge who ultimately had denied it to begin with, and then asked the judge under the "you screwed up, make a new decision." Really? What were the odds of that?
One word, George, LinkedIn. That's what he needs. Get a job. Last night, college basketball, Michigan State took down Purdue inside of Mackey 76-74. This is Purdue's third loss at home this season.
Yeah, there's something not quite right with Matt Painter's team. Not that they won't get to the NCAA tournament, but it just feels like something's off, and I'll just leave it at that. Feels like something's off.
They were a team that I was considering that might be one of those fringe national championship contenders, but after watching them the past couple nights, I don't think so. I don't think the same about Kansas. I still have that faith in Illinois, which, by the way, they play Michigan tonight in Champaign. That'll be a good one. And Miami, Ohio looks to extend their win streak to 29 in a row as they take on Western Michigan. So some pretty good college basketball on tonight. And George, the game you were at last night, the Predators, they beat the Blackhawks 4-2. First game since the Olympic break, and they're 2 points out of the final wild card spot right behind Seattle, who has 63.
Okay, we're going to spend a little time in the 4 o'clock hour. I'm going to hijack this.
That's fine.
A tad bit to say that there's some really interesting stuff going on. There's a lot of rumors about the Preds being sellers at the trade deadline, and there are teams kind of putting it out there that the Preds are really active. However, in the last 48 hours, a few things have happened that make you go, For instance, Utah has lost. They were a team ahead of the Preds. Seattle has lost twice. They're a team ahead of the Preds. The LA Kings have lost twice. They were a team ahead of the Preds. San Jose has lost. They were a team ahead of the Preds. The Preds have leapfrogged into the number 9 position. 8 make the playoffs. Preds have 61. Seattle has 63. Utah has 64. Am I fired up? Yeah, a little bit.
And think about it. In December, we were talking about them being dead in the water, and here they are at number 9.
Yep. They play in Dallas tomorrow night. I think the next 4 games are probably going to have to determine before the deadline what it is they're going to do.
And we'll talk about that more at the 4 o'clock hour. Right now, the Tennessee Volunteers baseball team is taking on UCLA in Texas. UCLA, the number 1 team. Tennessee, the number 20 team. And after losing a weekend series to Kent State, UCLA is coming off a random midweek loss to I think it was UC Santa Barbara. I may be wrong on that. So that's going on right now. First pitch was at 3 o'clock. And then, as I mentioned at the top of the show, Vandy's taking on UC Irvine in Las Vegas starting at 4, the pregame at 3:45. That is it for America's Favorite Update. When we come back on the other side, we're going to talk with our buddy Mark Griffin about all things college basketball as he joins us for his weekly visit. This is the George Plaster Show.
When I got my first car, my dad told me, keep the gas tank full and my number on speed dial. Now parents are telling their kids, save 615-242-9000 just in case. I'm Blair Durham. If you or someone you love is in a wreck, call us. We're here to get you the money you deserve.
It's easy to say good things about the folks at Strike and Spare Family Fun Centers. Number 1, I trust them with something that's near and dear to me, the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night. But more importantly, I see the fun people have. They enjoy the bowling, they enjoy the camaraderie, and you will too. Come by any of their locations and get ready to have some fun.
At Wilson Bank and Trust, we believe you shouldn't have to choose between personal service and digital solutions. As your local independent bank, we're proud to offer the relationships and trusted service you expect, along with the tools and technology that keep you moving forward. So whether you're growing a business, buying a home, or planning for the future, we're here to help. Because this isn't just where we work, it's where we live too. Wilson Bank and Trust, here to get you there. Member FDIC.
Are you looking for expert medical care in Nashville without leaving your home? Medical House Calls brings concierge-level health care directly to your door. Whether you need urgent attention, ongoing primary care, revitalizing IV therapy, or medically guided weight loss, our experienced providers are just a phone call away at 615-838-2375 or go online, medicalhousecalls.com. If you are paying too much for your health insurance, you know what? You need to contact the folks at Pancoast Benefits. Pancoast works with businesses and individuals to tackle the high cost of health insurance. Whether you're a business owner, large or small, self-employed, between jobs, or over the age of 65 and in need of a Medicare plan, Pancoast can help. They make understanding your benefits less difficult and more personal. So check them out today, pancoastbenefits.com, or call them at 615-292-3400. 292-3400.
ESPN Radio lives here. Your sports live here on ESPN 94.9 The Fan.
Welcome back here on the George Plaster Show as we get ready to start our conversation with Mark Griffin, who's going to join us in just a couple of moments. A lot of good college basketball on tonight as we have Michigan squaring off with Illinois in Champaign, a top 10 matchup. And last night, Purdue and Michigan State, very close game, 76-74. The Spartans winners over the Boilermakers. Let's go ahead and head out east, bring up our guy, Mark Griffin. Hey, Mark, look who's with us today.
Well, I can't believe it. Wow, the ratings just where did the ratings go, up or down, Parker?
They went down. They plummeted.
I won't get into the specifics on that. How you doing, Mark? Doing all right?
Doing great. And congratulations to you, Parker. You got a lot of great experience over the last time period with George's absence. And I know George, he likes to have a lot of control on a lot of things. And the reports I've got, he's been very pleased with you. So congrats to all that you've done to keep all of us sports fans in the know.
George and control? I don't think those two words go together. By the way, let it be known, it's 63 degrees and sunny here, and George does not approve of the fact I'm wearing shorts right now. Would you wear shorts in 63 degrees?
He was wearing them yesterday.
I was wearing them yesterday.
Mid-50s.
It depends. If it's not windy, 50s, no. 60s, yes. I walked 3 miles today. It's beautiful here. Just so thankful for the nice weather, which really gets me more in the mood for March Madness this time of the year. What a great time of the year, guys.
What, 16 days until we get our brackets?
Yeah.
Oh, March is a couple days away.
2 weeks, though, less than 2 weeks, tipping it off over at in Nashville.
Yeah. And some of the mid-majors start their tournament play next week.
Yeah.
We're getting close. So let's start in Lafayette? How did they say it up there?
Lafayette.
West Lafayette. It's the Southern coming out in me. I'm sure you watched the game last night, Mark. Really good game. 76-74. Michigan State beats Purdue. I said it wrong. It's Purdue's fourth loss at home this year. What do you think the difference was in the game last night?
Well, I'm a big Izzo fan, and great athletes. Not, fierce kids. I guess they're star, but just the type of kids Izzo recruits are winners, and they play hard, determined. I heard Izzo during one of his press conferences talk about how great a week they've had of practice, and I think it goes down to a lot of what he instills in his players, his demands for excellence, and it's carried over onto the court. And to win at Purdue is no easy task because they're a very talented team. So I'm really proud of Coach Izzo. He's one of the oldies but goldies that I really do appreciate.
He's one of the good guys.
Yeah, he is, George.
So I mentioned the 4 losses at home, which it seems like that never happens at Purdue, especially under Matt Painter. Where do you see this Purdue team? Like, kind of what's their ceiling once they get to the NCAA tournament? I thought they might be maybe a Final Four team, but I just don't know after watching them the last couple of weeks.
Man, it's a tough one. It's a head scratcher. You look at teams now, like even Houston had a few setbacks here lately, and I've been really big on Houston. Love Coach Sampson. I love the defense they bring. Then you have a few losses, and you're like, okay, who is on a roll now that we think can progress? I think when you got good guard play and you got Braden Smith, it seemed like he's played 15 years, the Lawyer kid, the son of John Lawyer, who was a longtime coach. It says a lot for good guard play. If they can get anything out of their bigs, that's a concern. They've got, good 3-man, but I'm not sure Purdue has a lot of depth. Get into foul trouble could cause some problems for Purdue, but it's going to boil down, like a lot of teams, matchups.
So what about their front court? Because I know they have Trey Kaufman-Wren. They have the Oscar Clough guy who has actually had some big moments in some of their big-time matchups. But it doesn't seem like they have – and obviously no one's ever going to be Zach Edey, but it just doesn't seem like they're the game changers that they have in the front court that they've had in past years.
No, I mean, and pardon me for not remembering the big kid's name, but it seems like every year they find a 7'3" or 7'4" kid
right
somewhere. And what a great recruiting tactic for Coach Painter to bring these guys in. It's just that, you have to look at the game these days as far as when you've got guys over 7 foot, it limits your transition game. And Braden Smith can get up and go. So can Lawyer. But when you got a 7'4" guy, then you're really 4-on-5 during fast break. And that can be a disadvantage. It can be as far as fatigue factor for big guys, because it's just a big difference being a 6'1" and a 7'3" center as far as getting good minutes on the court. And that can hurt Purdue when they're not in a half-court game.
And tonight, Michigan and Illinois are squaring off in Champaign. Griff, I think Illinois is a borderline national championship contender with the Wagler kid. I really think they're a dark horse. Do you think they can give Michigan some trouble tonight?
Oh, no doubt. Big on Illinois. Coach Underwood's done a fantastic job with them. It'll be interesting. Michigan's big guy, Marez Johnson, transferred from Illinois, and he's going back home. And I wonder, George, if he's going to get treated like Jalen Carey did last weekend at Vanderbilt. And we can't repeat on the air what the Vanderbilt faithful were yelling at him throughout the game.
I think faithful starts with the letter F.
Yeah.
And you all can take it from there.
Another word that starts with F?
Yeah, that's...
So with that said, I think it's going to be a big challenge for Marez Johnson. I can't wait to watch that game. Michigan's got a fantastic front line. Andy Mara is like 7'5" or so. And then the transfer from UAB, Lindenberg, who's, going to be a top mid-15 range draft pick. The problem with Michigan, though, that I'm a little concerned about is other than Cadeau, what type of guard player you're going to get that's consistent, and what type of depth does Michigan have if their bigs get in foul trouble. And Illinois is going to bang. They're going to bang. They're going to bang. And that's Big Ten basketball. They're just going to bang. So if Michigan can stay out of foul trouble tonight, I actually think they have a good shot. If it boils down to bench play, I give the advantage to Illinois.
Let's talk about sleepers. And I'd like to shout out Connor, who is our new graphics guy, for this wonderful graphic. Utah State Aggies. Take it away, Griff.
Well, it's funny. I've been wanting to share this the last couple of weeks.
I know. I take blame for it. I haven't brought it up.
We had so much going on, Parker. And then to my dismay, each week, Utah State would lose. So I had an internal battle there, like, okay, do I pick another team or Utah State? But most people, including myself, I hardly know anything about Utah State going back, in the history of Utah State basketball. But I think it's a very interesting team, a team that a lot of athletic directors are looking at right now because of Jared Calhoun, the second-year coach. Started out, George, as a student assistant at Cincinnati under Bob Huggins. He worked his way up as an assistant coach in D2, and he was a head coach in the D2 space. And then, he eventually moved over to Utah State and has done a fantastic job with them, even with a few losses. They've lost 2 in a row, but they've won 8 out of 10. And interestingly enough, on a local note, their top player, which of course I had to research, is MJ Collins. And for you Nashville Vanderbilt fans, was on Vanderbilt team last year, was a role player, averaged less than 8 points a game. Well, he's made a good move. He's averaging almost 18 points a game with Utah State. And it'll be really interesting to see what Lenardi has them, how he has them fitting in at the end of the season. Right now, he's got them a 7 seed. And that will just be one of the teams that I'll really like to watch, because as you guys know, I like to pull for what I call underdogs, and this one being a surprise team. I want to see how well they do in the tournament.
Lenardi, I was also looking earlier. Lenardi still has Vanderbilt and Belmont squaring off in the first round of his latest bracketology. That's 2 weeks in a row he's had that. How cool would that be if both of those teams faced off?
It's cool. And what's funny, George and I have talked about this over the last years. Is it ironic that they have Auburn, playing against Belmont, or is it Vanderbilt versus Belmont? Yeah, is that ironic
flood.
or what? I mean, you got two Tennessee schools. Obviously, Coach Casey Alexander is very familiar with the Vanderbilt program, growing up in Nashville. And that just doesn't happen. I would love to see that. But at the same time, for Vanderbilt's sake, I'd like to see a little different matchup. I don't know how Belmont's going to fare in the tournament, but for Belmont, this is their everything game. And it would be even more if they played against Vanderbilt. I'd like to see them play someone else and Vanderbilt matched up against another team. And of course, I'll be pulling for both.
So Tennessee could be well represented in this NCAA tournament. It's Tennessee, Vanderbilt, Belmont, ETSU, Austin Peay, and I think Tennessee State was in there as well. So, right. And I think there's one more that I'm forgetting, but there's a chance.
Tennessee State's borderline, but they have a shot, and give them credit. When's the last time we ever talked about Tennessee State being in the run for an NCAA tournament? So you got to give the coach, the coach that came from Duke, a lot of credit.
By the way, Austin Peay lost a big one last night to Central Arkansas. And I can't say I know exactly what that does for tournament seedings. It's a one-bid league.
Yeah, and congratulations to – I have to give a plug to Coach Schulman, John Schulman, who I know very well, that coached high school in Chattanooga. He switched over from Alabama Huntsville a couple years ago, had nothing, and in 2 years, or this may be his third year, he's got them contending to go to the tournament as well. So great job to him. And his son, as you know, George, is at UT Martin.
Right.
Wait, UT Martin might have been in there too somewhere. Yeah. So I think maybe 6 or 7 teams from Tennessee could get in the tournament. And
wouldn't that be neat if you had Daddy Schulman, son Schulman, NCAA tournament? And of course, they won't match them up against each other, thank goodness, but they probably would try to.
So I listed, I don't know if I read this off to you. I'm gonna go ahead if I haven't already. So I made a list of national championship contenders, and I want to know what you think. So I had Michigan, Arizona, Duke, UConn, Florida, Houston, and then Illinois is a borderline team. Anyone else I'm forgetting?
Well, I mean, people are going to say Gonzaga, but I just don't see that personally. But you're going to have people say throw Gonzaga.
No, don't get George started on Gonzaga.
No,
I agree.
He's not a fan of the WCC.
No, I think that's about right. Some people will throw Kansas in. Depends on what mode Darren Peterson's in.
Yeah,
I mean, with him, and if he's on all cylinders, they're one of the best teams in the country. But I think, guys, there's a lot going on behind the scenes that we're not aware of, and that can cause a lot of problems.
So Kansas has Arizona tomorrow in Tucson, and it just seems Big 12, night in and night out, you're getting these top 15 matchups. Do you think that's going to hurt the conference as a whole once they get to the tournament because they're so beat up?
No, I don't. I think, if anything, guys want to play against stronger teams. I mean, you still have time to rest. It's not like you're playing every day yet. So it's not, every other day once you get into the NCAA tournament, and every day once you get into your conference tournament. But these guys are built for that. I don't believe in that theory. These guys are conditioned. You go back even when they're in high school, they're playing 3 or 4 games a day. Guys want to play. Not a problem.
George, go ahead and take it away. I'm going to figure out something for you.
Don't we need to go to a break before we do that? Let's go to a break, and then I'm going to hit Mark with something he's got no idea is coming.
By the way, Brando back at 94.9. You're good if you want to log off, and because I know you got to do Vandy baseball. So we'll just take it from here on the George Plaster Show.
When I got my first car, my dad told me, keep the gas tank full and my number on speed dial. Now parents are telling their kids, save 615-242-9000 just in case. I'm Blair Durham. If you or someone you love is in a wreck, call us. We're here to get you the money you deserve.
Smashville hockey. Around here, it can sound like a language of its own. But hey, if you can pronounce Demumbrian, then names like Yossi, Shea, Marchessault will roll right off the tongue. Nashville Predators, only in Smashville.
Sports and Social in Green Hills Mall is the new home for our Football Night in Nashville promotion. Their food is terrific. Their TV setup looks like a racing sports book in Vegas. And if you're a sports fan, you can't beat it. Starting September the 4th, we'll broadcast from Sports and Social every Thursday night. There's Pop-A-Shot, great football, and the chance to win a beautiful Mikey's Motors golf cart. See you at Sports and Social in Green Hills Mall. Here's Officer Garen Hoskins for the Metro Nashville Police Department.
The Metro Nashville Police Department is on the forefront of policing in this century, and I'm glad I'm a part of it. I'm glad I get to find other good officers, other future good officers. And if you're watching today, or you yourself or someone you happen to know is interested, join MNPD.com. Feel free to reach out to us because we need good officers, and it's a great city to work for.
That's just going to be the...
You've heard me talk about the putting zone. Well, guess what? It's now open, and it offers a revolutionary indoor golf experience featuring state-of-the-art putting surfaces designed to replicate real-world course conditions. It allows players of all skill levels to practice, compete in tournaments, and connect year-round. Go by and see them at 3040 Sidco Drive, and tell them Plaz sent you.
Back here on the George Plaster Show, continuing our conversation with Mark Griffin. George, take it away.
Okay, Mark, in the talk show business, you'll get calls that say, how far do you think so-and-so can go in the NCAA tournament? And the answer traditionally is, well, it depends on the kind of draw that they get. And then everybody just leaves it at that. Nobody quite knows exactly what that means. So I want to take three teams that we're all really familiar with and talk about why certain things happen. Let's start with Vandy. Okay, I'm going to see Vandy tomorrow. And when they played Kentucky in Nashville, beat them by 25, it felt like they could have won by 40. They absolutely smoked Kentucky. So about the time you want to just say, well, Kentucky isn't any good. Kentucky then has 2 wins against Tennessee that deep down people are scratching their head going, how did that happen? And then throwing the third equation into it, Tennessee really D's up Saturday in a very hostile environment at Memorial Gym, and they end up winning. How does this kind of stuff happen? What do matchups mean? You've played at that level. Talk about matchups.
Well, I like to start with guard play because I think that when you have consistent guard play, not that you have to have 3 good players in one night, but you need 2. And that's what I like about Vanderbilt, because you look at nickel and you got Miles and then you've got Tanner. If one of those doesn't fare so well and the others pick it up, they have a good shot to win. And they shoot well and they each shoot very well from the free throw line. So when I talk about guard play, it's when there's tight games, there's going to be a lot more fouls called, a lot more free throws shot, and you want the right guys in the game. And I think Vanderbilt has that. And I think you also look at strength of defense of teams that can advance. Now, that's one of my concerns for Vanderbilt, because if they get into foul trouble, especially McLaughlin or, God forbid, Washington, what is Vanderbilt going to do as far as have inside presence defensively that's going to be consistent? So that's a concern. But, George, we talked about this the other day. I mean, you can look at most teams and they've got a glaring weakness. the great thing about coaching is you try to hide those weaknesses. You maximize your competitive advantage. You minimize your weaknesses. Teams know about it. They try to exploit it. How well they do during the scouting report and during an actual game is one thing. But with Vanderbilt, guard play, I think, is really going to be a key. And one thing that I like about Vanderbilt as well, and they did this a lot against Tennessee, but not a lot of luck with the kickback and the three-pointer, is they're just snaking in, getting to what we call the paint, and did a really good job overall, and they've been very consistent throughout the season of being able to drive to the center to get to the paint so you can kick one way or another to a guard. You see a lot of teams will run a two-man game, and one that really – all teams run what we call a two-man game. You bring your center out, and then you run a guard off your center, and the center dives to the basket. The problem with that is you're clogging up the middle with the center, so that's limiting your offensive ability for your guard. But if you can drive or maybe have a screen on the side and open up the lane, it's still going to give better opportunities to free up shooters. And that's one thing I'll really be looking for, even when they play Kentucky, to see, can they penetrate the paint? That's one of the things coaches talk about all the time. Penetrate the paint. Penetrate the paint. Because if you can get in the paint, you can make something happen. If you're just setting screens at the three-point line, you're not really as big a threat.
Why would Kentucky have so much success against Tennessee and look so bad against Gonzaga, who's a really good team, Georgia, who I think's really underrated, and Auburn, who I don't think's worth a damn?
No. Well, you have to go back to their preseason conference player of the year candidate, Otega Owe. He's really picked his game up, and kind of at the same time period that Ament had at Tennessee, he's really starting to come into his own. The problem, though, with Owe improving so well, it still seems like, to me, when I watch this Kentucky team, everyone's on an island. It's I'm going to get mine. I'm not concerned about you. I'm not sacrificing for you. There's not a lot of flow into the game that I would like to see. More passing, because the more it's really interesting. People talk about, oh, you're just trying to kill the shot clock. The reason there's so many passes in a game is to move your defense. Because if you can get your defense moving, you're going to have fatigue factor, and you're going to be and the defense is going to be in a position that's not optimum, and then you're going to get a better offensive shot. I don't really see that continuous movement that I feel is necessary for a team like Kentucky to be successful. Always the best driver in the SEC. I've said it ad nauseum. He can drive to the basket. The problem when he drives the basket is he's just driving and he's creating his own shot, not doing a lot of kickouts. And they've got shooters, but he's driving, he's not giving it up. And that's where I think it gets a little selfish, guys.
Okay, I want to talk to you about a couple of teams that I've had this conversation with Lee Fowler, but I don't think I've had it with you. So here's Miami of Ohio. They're undefeated. They play in the MAC. They haven't been just dominant in the MAC. They've won a bunch of close games. But on the other hand, they are undefeated in the regular season. Lenardi, unless something changed today, has them as an 11 seed.
Yeah, they're still 11.
Okay, what do you think about them? When you see them, what do you think?
Well, being transparent, I haven't seen them a lot. I have seen them a couple of games. High-scoring team. They're winning. I mean, you get back to you can only play the schedule that you have in front of you. And for them to have the continued success, I mean, I would think they would be a little higher, at least a 10, maybe a 9 seed, guys. But then you have to look at who are they going to displace to get to that seed. That's the problem. But kudos to Travis Steele. You know, I mean, he was at Xavier, got bounced, and then went to Miami, Ohio. Another team that we're going to be talking about during the tournament is how do they fare? Are they as good as advertised, or what we're talking about today, they just have an easier schedule per se? How will they fare in their matchups with some of these Power Four conferences eventually?
Do you think they can win a game in the tournament?
Oh, I sure do. I mean, I never overlook any team that makes the NCAA tournament. I don't think you can go to, I think of Oakland against Kentucky, whenever that game was, and cheered for Oakland. And I mean, and they had the one kid that just got hot. I don't know how many points he scored. I think any game, what's great about the NCAA tournament is it takes one kid to get really hot and one team to not. And if you have that combination, there's upset city. And that's what we all pull for, unless it's your team. So I think that's exciting. We talk about the Utah States, the Miami of Ohio's of the world. You talk about Austin P if they get in, the Belmonts. Another thing too, guys, is some of these teams, and I've been guilty of this playing, you'll go up against a team, you're like, oh man, we're going to kill them. I mean, who are they? Who do they play? I don't know any of their guys on their team. So you overlook them, or you get more selfish, like, man, I'm going to be able to score some more points, or I'm going to get extra rebounds, or maybe a few assists. You get a little selfish. You look to the next matchup already. And that can happen, and it does happen, guys. Teams won't talk about it. People overlook teams all the time.
Okay, here's another one I want to talk to you about, because Lee's answer surprised me yesterday. The conventional wisdom right now is the Missouri Valley is a one-bid league. Wasn't always that way. I remember a day in time where Missouri Valley got multiple bids. But the conventional wisdom is they are a one-bid league. Here's Belmont, who has run away with the regular season. It's like a 5-game lead over whoever is second. And in spite of that, a lot of pressure when they go to St. Louis.
Oh, yeah.
If they fail, does the committee say, wait a minute, we need to rethink them?
What it's going to boil down to, and we start the show with this, nothing but net, NET, NCAA evaluation tool comes in. This is when teams look at who you played, where you played, and how you fared. That's where it's always going to be, I consider, controversial, because a team like Auburn, who I definitely feel should not be in the tournament, but they're going to look at their net. Auburn has a 35 net. I'm not sure what Belmont is. We have to look that up, but I guarantee it's not in the top 60. That's going to come into play. And it's not Belmont's fault. I mean, they played their schedule that they have. They've had fantastic success. But it's still going to – what's going to happen with Belmont, if they don't win their tournament, they're going to be making sure they're cheering for not a lot of upsets. The more upsets will displace them, because it's a pecking order. And that's what I love about Lenardi. I mean, he's got last 4 in, first 4 buys, last 4 in, last 4 out. It's a pecking order. And he's pretty much spot on every year. That's why I look at it every week when it comes out, twice a week, and it'll increase when the tournament starts.
For the record, listen to this. His last 4 buys
are
all SEC.
It's all SEC, yeah.
And the last 4 ins also SEC, so that's 5 teams in a row.
So he's got Georgia, Missouri, A&M, and Texas as his last 4 buys. His last 4 in the tournament are Auburn, TCU, Santa Clara, and Indiana.
Yeah.
His first 4 out in order: Cal, just had a big win over SMU. New Mexico, a team I can't figure out. Ohio State, a team that I go,
my gosh, how are they in it?
and USC. So that's sort of where the scoreboard watching for the Belmont people would start.
No doubt. And they should be. If you're like me, when I watch these games, people are talking like Tennessee could be a 4 seed. Well, 4 seeds have to lose. They're not just going to jump if they keep winning. I mean, if Bama, Texas Tech, Virginia, and Michigan State keeps winning, Tennessee's not going to displace them. What's interesting, and I'm glad you brought this up, because I did also look into this. I was like, Ohio State, I mean, they're 17-11. They had some horrible losses, but their net is a 38. So see, it goes back to that net ranking. If the higher it is, the better the look you really get to be included in the tournament. Another example, Missouri's 58 net. Texas is a 40, and they're a 10 seed, and Auburn's 35, but yet they're last 4 in. Auburn's an 11 seed, so they're even dropped a lower seed and have a better net. But I just don't think Auburn should be in, period.
So
we'll see. They do play Alabama the last game of the regular season. That's going to be a big game. Big game.
So I'm going to take an educated guess here that you will be at Thompson Bowling tomorrow night, Tennessee, Alabama.
Yes.
Okay. So the first time they played, I thought it was Tennessee's finest hour. Second half, they were brilliant. Ament took over. Boom. Alabama beaten at home. Not many people do it.
No.
I thought Tennessee's second best moment was going into Nashville with all of that hatred and vitriol and Memorial Gym. They D up. Ament hits a shot that there aren't 5 college kids that would make. And you come away from that going, wow, Tennessee. But, Mark, about the time you think, okay, they've gotten there, then they do something that has you going, I don't know. Tell me what you think.
I think each game, it's a guessing game. And that's the frustrating thing about watching Tennessee play is you just don't know what you're going to get. I didn't feel good about that Missouri game. I mentioned that on our friend Tony's show. I really didn't. I didn't like the matchups. First of all, I didn't know the TO kid would go off like he did, and we didn't even adjust to have another defender guard him. Evans, our best defender, our strongest defender, and they kept. They just stuck with the ones that they had. But then again, I'm not coaching. It'll be interesting. When I look at Alabama, they're the number 1 scoring team in the country. Tennessee they're 92 points a game. Tennessee's given up 69. Something's got to give. If Alabama scores in the 90s, Alabama's going to win the game. The lower the score, the more advantage it is for Tennessee. Alabama shoots the most 3-point attempts in the country. But here's the thing. Barnes has beaten Oates, I think, 5 times in a row, I believe. So you have that matchup. But, Coach, that's one angle. But with Alabama, since that really bad loss they had at Florida, which I think was 77-100, they've won 7 in a row. So they've really been on a roll. And I love Philon, their guards. 3rd in the SEC in scoring, 21.3. He's one of those like Ty Tanner type players. He just knives in, draws defenders, kicks out. You got Holloway. And once again, I think Alabama has the best talent on their entire roster in the whole SEC as far as talent. I'm not saying they're the best team. I think that's Florida, and I think we can all agree. But talent-wise, Alabama is loaded.
Leave me with this. There are certain little runs that I see in Arkansas that have me say, wow. Then there's, in the back of my mind, Calipari, who never outcoaches anybody. And it's just simply, he's got better talent. Can Arkansas make a run to something like the Elite Eight? I got about 45 seconds.
I do think they can because of Darius Acuff and supporting cast. They have great athletes. a concern of mine is going deep in their bench, but they've got some pretty good role players. I saw them the other night, and it was like a different team. They played so hard. If they can exude that effort, they're a team you're gonna have to really prepare for, and it's just going to be fun. I mean, when you've got Florida, you got Alabama, Arkansas. To me, are the top three teams. I'd have Tennessee at fourth. I hope that is the case for the double bye as well. That could be forthcoming for the upcoming tournament. We'll see how that works out in the next week. But Arkansas, they're a really good team, especially when Acuff's on the floor. But like you said, with Calipari, you just never know if how he's gonna coach or how he's gonna adjust.
Stop there. We got to run.
All right, Griff, we'll do this again same time next week. Enjoy the college basketball this weekend.
Appreciate you guys.
That was our buddy Mark Griffin. On the other side, George is going to hijack the show. We're going to talk a little Preds after stat of the day, of course. This is the George Plaster Show. Time for our stat of the day, brought to you by Apple Collision Centers. Which Division I men's basketball team has the best start in program history during the 25-26 season, opening with the 26-2 record? Well, this should help you out.
Yeah, but it doesn't.
How many teams in college basketball have a 26-2 record?
Well,
right
let me
now?
ask you. Yeah, but that's.
Let's see. I actually don't know. 3.
I mean, you could say Arizona. I'll go with Arizona just because I have no idea.
Michigan Wolverines, best start in program history under second-year head coach Dusty May, who I believe is the front runner for Coach of the Year.
If you're really honest about Michigan basketball has always taken a back seat to football. Chrysler Arena is a very mediocre facility compared to most of the great facilities around the country. It doesn't have any of the glamour of the big house, but this team, they're pretty good. Now, Duke maybe taught them a lesson or two as to, okay, what's left to conquer to win a national title? Still, Michigan's pretty good.
Michigan's very good. And I wouldn't be surprised if the game that we saw last Saturday between Duke and Michigan is a preview of what the national championship could look like. I believe Arizona's right up there as well. In terms of that 4th 1 seed, George, I don't know who it could be. Houston, UConn, Florida.
Well, there's still stuff to decide. For instance, I would say the biggest development that's happened in the last 10 days is simply Houston falling off a cliff. Look, it's one thing to lose to really good teams. No shame in that. That 3-game thing that they played.
Brutal.
Okay, it might as well have been the Denver Nuggets and the Lakers. But what all of us saw Monday night was a team that offensively looked lost. And that's the development that, okay, what's gone on in the last 4 days in Houston basketball? My guess is not real pretty.
You still think they're a national championship contender?
I mean, is he capable enough to fix their problem? Probably. I would say they're not in the top 3, even though they were ranked at one point number 2. I got to see something way better than what I've seen in the last 10 days.
So I'm inclined to believe that there's a team in the Big 12 that is going to take off when they get to the NCAA tournament because their hardest schedule is behind them, and that is going through the Big 12 gauntlet. I wouldn't be surprised if it's Houston, but we'll have to see. We welcome you back in. Final hour of the show this week. And just a reminder, we are not on 94.9 right now, as Vandy boys have just started their weekend series against UC Irvine. And tomorrow, I believe they take on Oregon. And I can't remember who they play on Sunday, but they're playing out in Las Vegas. So that starts today.
Isn't it UC Irvine?
What was that?
Isn't it UC Irvine?
Yeah, UC Irvine. What did I say?
On Sunday.
Might be. I think they're playing 3 different teams. I know it's Oregon tomorrow and then somebody else on Sunday. And Tennessee's taking on UCLA right now. They're down 4-0 in the bottom of the 4th. And that is in Houston. So, George, you said that you were going to hijack the show with some Preds talk. Go ahead.
Yeah. I brought it up during the update. There are a lot of rumors out there. Who knows what's legit? Who knows what isn't legit about the Preds and whether they're going to move people or not. Some of the strong rumors indicates that they're really going to move people. Okay, I get it. That's something that, has been talked about for a good while. But all of a sudden, there feels like a new development with the Preds, and that is that, for about the last month, they've been a playoff contender. But in the last 48 hours, their playoff contention status, to me, has gone way up. You say, why? Not necessarily the win over Chicago, although that sure helps it. It's Utah, a team ahead of them, losing. It's the LA Kings, a team that was ahead of them, losing twice, now behind them. It's, who all have I listed? San Jose.
Yeah, San Jose.
A team that was ahead of them, loses, now behind them. Seattle has lost twice. Now the gap between Seattle and the Preds is 2 points. So here's where you can get some what I'll call mixed messaging. Okay, I went to the game last night. I'm a season ticket holder. Most of you know it. So before the game starts, Willie and Chris Mason, they're doing their preview of the game, and they bring up the Predator playoff push. Later in the game, on the big board, very intentional, a look at the standings. So there's a message being put out there at a home game about the Predators being in a pennant kind of race. And yet on the backside, there may be something totally different going on. And the two don't always jive. I can remember a time where the White Sox decided to basically bail when they were right in the middle of a playoff hunt. And their fan base went ape, went absolutely crazy. Again, cautionary. I don't know what they're doing. All I know is what's being rumored. But that tends to send mixed messages. Home game, talking about playoffs. Behind the scenes, don't know. Here's what I do know. If they were to win in Dallas tomorrow night, where they will be a heavy underdog, then Barry Trotz has got to look at those standings and go, what do I do?
I'm actually going to pull this up and try to share it on the screen so we can see what you're talking about here. So this is a look at ESPN, the wild card standings. Here's Nashville sitting in ninth, couple of points out from Seattle, who you said lost twice, right, George?
They've lost twice since play is resumed, while the Predators have won a game.
Yep.
Utah, which is in the 7 hole, has lost once, while the Predators have won once. Thus, what was a while back a 4 and 5 point gap is now a 2 and a 3. Now, there's no way to know what's going to happen over the next week. They go to Dallas tomorrow night. They're home Monday against Detroit. They go to Columbus, I think, Tuesday, and home Thursday against Boston. Barry Trotz may have to make some tough decisions with his team sitting right there on the fence.
Yeah.
And all I'm saying is you better be careful with the messaging that you're putting out there to your fans on game night. If indeed you decide to pull it and basically gut the team. Get where I'm going?
Yeah, and you told me yesterday when we got off the air that you believe that they shouldn't trade anybody, right? Just keep the team the same. Do
Well,
you still believe that?
Hold on. Let me kind of do it in moderation a little bit. I believe that what they need to do is say to themselves here at the trade deadline, if some team makes an offer for somebody or bodies that you cannot turn down, then you make the deal. Otherwise, I kind of wonder if you let this group, which has fought its way back into discussion, I wonder if you give them the chance to do it. Now, there are obvious deficiencies. They're the slowest team in the league. They do not have great firepower. And those two things right there make it very difficult. They didn't play great last night against the Blackhawks. They were just good enough to win and get me a little excited. But, you know, am I sitting there saying when they get in the playoffs they can do damage? No, I'm not. I'm not going to say that.
And I've heard there's a school of thought out there too that the Preds have really never undergone a true rebuild. Would you say that's correct?
Yeah, and I think part of that is compared to some of the older franchises, this thing has been in existence 28 years, a little more than a generation. If they go total rebuild, what happens to their attendance? In some cities, you know the answer, it'll be fine because it's been built up over 50 to 75 years. This is a little different. And they may not know the answer to that question and may not be willing to take the full gamble.
When we were talking about the Barry Trotz thing, when it happened, I feel like I had more questions than I have answers. And to be honest, I still do have a lot of questions. Do you believe that Barry Trotz wanted to undergo that true rebuild and maybe the rest of the people in the front office didn't?
I think that's possible. I don't know because, number one, I've never asked him. And number two, I don't think he'd tell me, even if I did ask it. I mean, it's entirely possible. There's a lot of stuff that I'm not overly sure about. Am I 100% certain that the exact story that was told the day it was announced that he's leaving, do I think it was 100% exactly the way it went down? No, I don't. A lot of people don't.
Yeah.
Because it's hard for me to believe, knowing Barry Trotz the way I do, and the competitor that he is, it is hard for me to believe that he would just leave it where it is right now. Because the job that he set out to do doesn't feel like it's finished.
And this is just how I would think, because if the Preds were fortunate enough to make the playoffs, they're not winning that first series. So for me, I'd rather take a couple steps back to take a couple steps forward, meaning you undergo that true rebuild so that you can get on the right path instead of just middling around.
Yeah, but it's easier because understand this, unlike other sports, hockey is all about season ticket revenue.
Sure.
Totally. It doesn't have the big TV contracts that the others do. And for some of these teams with FanDuel as their local partner, it's on a banana peel. So even it's not very stable. Predators are one of those franchises with FanDuel. FanDuel isn't worth the toilet paper that, well, fill in the blank.
Yeah.
You know, they've declared bankruptcy essentially on two different occasions over the last 18 to 24 months. So, you know, there's just a lot of stuff here.
And that's what the front office has to figure out from here. How do you want to handle this?
Well, I don't know that they 100% have the answer. Again, I'm just simply going by the rumors that are out there as opposed to what you get in game night messaging. Because right now, those feel totally different.
And looking at their next 6 before the trade, or is it when the trade deadline starts? Because they have 6 games before. When's the trade deadline?
March 6th.
March 6th. Okay, so they have 5 games before. Just looking at that 5-game stretch, you beat Chicago last night 4-2. You're at Dallas on Saturday, which is going to be tough. I believe they're 3rd in the Western Conference right now. Detroit's 2nd in the Eastern. Columbus, Boston, and Buffalo. Boston's a team in the playoff picture, so not exactly an easy stretch for the Preds by any means.
A win over Dallas tomorrow night would cloud this thing up. You talk about a fog bank.
Yeah.
It would really fog it all up.
Yeah, so that's a look at the next 5 before the trade deadline on March 6th. Yeah, George, I feel just as confused. If the front office doesn't have an answer on how they're going to handle this, I sure as heck don't.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of these mushy middle kind of things that they've been in before. And what do you do? On one hand, the fan in me wants to go for the playoffs. Season ticket holder, I want the games to matter. But on the other end, do I understand the dilemma? Of course I do.
Because when the playoffs are here in Nashville, it's awesome.
Sure.
I mean, you've talked about how playoff hockey's the greatest. It's incredible. And I remember that Stanley Cup run back in 2017 and just how it captivated the entire city. So when the Preds are good and the playoffs are here, man, people really support. But we don't really know what it looks like when they're, at the bottom. So I guess that's kind of their fear.
Yep.
So interesting dilemma going on with the Nashville Predators. Let's talk a little NFL Combine on the other side and also get into some college hoops before we wrap up the show and head home for the weekend. This is the George Plaster Show.
When I got my first car, my dad told me, keep the gas tank full and my number on speed dial. Now parents are telling their kids, save 615-242-9000 just in case. I'm Blair Durham. If you or someone you love is in a wreck, call us. We're here to get you the money you deserve.
Venture Express has been helping people in this area for more than 40 years. They're headquartered in Murfreesboro with over 30 years of dedicated fleets involving production, manufacturing, and corrugated experiences. They're an asset-based company with over 700 tractors, 4,000 trailers, and 800 drivers. If you need their help, dial them up 615-793-9500 or log on to ventureexpress.com. You've heard me talk about the putting zone. Well, guess what? It's now open, and it offers a revolutionary indoor golf experience featuring state-of-the-art putting surfaces designed to replicate real-world course conditions. It allows players of all skill levels to practice, compete in tournaments, and connect year-round. Go by and see them at 3040 Sidco Drive and tell them Plaz sent you. Are you looking for expert medical care in Nashville without leaving your home? Medical House Calls brings concierge-level health care directly to your door. Whether you need urgent attention, ongoing primary care, revitalizing IV therapy, or medically guided weight loss, our experienced providers are just a phone call away at 615-838-2375 or go online, medicalhousecalls.com. It's easy to say good things about the folks at Strike and Spare Family Fun Centers. Number one, I trust them with something that's near and dear to me, the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night. But more importantly, I see the fun people have. They enjoy the bowling. They enjoy the camaraderie, and you will too. Come by any of their locations and get ready to have some fun.
Welcome back on the George Plaster Show. The NFL Combine is going on in Indianapolis right now. As I've been seeing videos across my Twitter timeline of corners running the 40-yard dash. The tight ends are there today as well. Quarterbacks speaking to the media. So we're going to get into some news and notes from Indianapolis as that's been going on. The quarterbacks will throw tomorrow with the wide receivers and the running backs. George, as we were talking about the Predators, I've been seeing a lot pop up on my timeline about Jeremiah Love and the Titans. And there was a source, I believe it was Sleeper Titans, that said that he has confirmed that the Titans are really intrigued by Jeremiah Love. And this seems to be gaining more traction because I've been hearing his name a lot more mentioned by multiple reporters, and it just seems to keep coming up in conversation.
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt he's a fine player. But I'll say it again, if you make him the choice, let's say he's their first-round draft pick, because right now you don't have dynamic stuff at running back. What you do have is solid, not spectacular, but given this team's problems, kind of the least of their problems. So all I'm going to say to that is this. If you pick him, you better be damn sure he's what you think he is. Because you can't afford, at this point, a first-round draft pick that's, if you get you're in trouble.
It has been confirmed, too, that Jeremiah Love has had a meeting with the Titans. So they've already met.
Okay, whoop-de-doo. They meet with everybody.
Here's the thing, because I've been going through, hypotheticals in my head. Arvell Reese had a phenomenal day at the Combine yesterday. David Bailey had a phenomenal day at the Combine yesterday. Right now,
what do you consider phenomenal as opposed to crappy? Give me somebody who's had a crappy Combine.
I could think of one.
Well,
Ruben Bain. The arm measurements seem to be freaking a lot of people out. Not us. We've talked about how much we love Ruben Bain. I love Ruben Bain. I'm willing to forget the short arms. But the long jump, broad jump, all the measurements for what's his name? Sonny Styles yesterday. Blew scouts away. And now he's a projected top 5 pick. That's what the Underwear Olympics can do for you. Now, I've been one to say that the film should do most of the talking, and I believe that, all the general managers and scouts believe that as well. But when you compete at the Underwear Olympics, it kind of adds a little, all the ancillary stuff that comes with it. So I'm inclined to believe, George, right now, and again, this could change in a week, that David Bailey is going to be the second overall pick to the Jets. Arvell Reese will be third to the Cardinals, and that leaves the Titans at 4 with options of Ruben Bain, Jeremiah Love, Sonny Styles, and Caleb Downs. Do you think there's a team back there that would be willing to trade up for one of those guys?
Oh, I don't doubt there might be. To me, the sort of the unknown here is Ty Simpson. Okay, just I'm assuming most of what goes on at the Combine with the quarterbacks is with air, correct?
Yeah, all of it, pretty much all of it.
You put me with air, and I'll go 18 out of 20. So it really doesn't tell you anything. But the pro day down in Tuscaloosa is going to be very important for Ty Simpson. And that ultimately is probably the day that certain teams say, or they say, that's probably going to do more to decide the things you're throwing out there than all this other mess.
Now, the professional film guys over at ESPN, I'm thinking of Dan Orlovsky and guys like Louis Riddick. Louis Riddick was a scout for a long time in the NFL. Daniel Jeremiah over with the NFL Network, longtime scout in the NFL. They've watched Ty Simpson's tape, and a lot of them are saying, hey, there's some throws on there that even Fernando Mendoza didn't make, which made me widen my eyes. So I believe that he's a first-round pick. I just don't know if we're talking top 15. I'm inclined to think later first round. Maybe to a team like Pittsburgh, LA. That's what I'm thinking.
Well, but we know where the touch point is. It's the Jets. The Jets at 2, that feels a little high. Do the Jets move down, saying to themselves, if we're sitting there at number 10 with an extra draft pick or 2, do we think we can get Ty Simpson? That could well be what goes on.
New York does have an extra first-round pick. It's 16.
There may be.
So if you have faith that Ty Simpson will still be on the board by then, you could get him there. They did meet with him today.
And my guess is not that I think. First of all, I think when you meet with these players, I think they can do themselves a whole lot more damage than they can good. Because the ones that do good, a lot of the pro scouts will sit there and say they memorize some stuff. That, like the ACT test. Somebody grilled them on questions and they just gave out the stuff. But you can really screw yourself up if you go in there and you don't know how to put a noun and a verb together.
This idea was thrown out at me today, and to be honest, I hadn't really considered it. Dallas is sitting there at number 12 with their first-round pick. And if a guy like Sonny Styles or Caleb Downs, which I assume would be on the board by the Titans come to pick at 4, maybe a Dallas could trade up with you. Would you be opposed to trading back with Dallas and let's say get a 12, you flip the first round, get 12, and they do have a later first-round pick at 20. Would you be opposed to that?
Well, no, not at all. And Borgonzi, when he got here, talked about trying to stockpile draft picks.
Correct.
And I don't know that that's really happened.
Hasn't yet.
And so that leads me to think they would want to do something like that. But who knows?
Especially if you get 2 first-round picks. It was Brinker who originally said that, and that was a couple of years ago. The goal was 12 picks in the top 100 over the next 3 drafts, and this is that 3rd draft, and they have yet to trade back. So it kind of makes you wonder. But the way that Sonny Styles kind of catapulted himself into the conversation, I could see a team like New York. I could definitely see Dallas doing that because they need a lot of help on defense, and there are 3 defensive guys there. Maybe even a Kansas City if they thought that you were going to take Jeremiah Love. KC needs a running back. I could absolutely see there being a trade partner there. And to be honest, at first I didn't think so because of the quarterback situation, but who knows? Maybe something could happen.
Well, it feels like it would behoove the Titans for Jeremiah Love's stock to go way up because deep down, we don't think any of the top 3 are going to pick him. And the conventional wisdom says at number 4, he's going to be there. Now, whether they feel as high about him as other teams, who knows? Maybe they're worried like I am that it's not as big a slam dunk as some people make it out, and we have too many needs that we have to address.
And to be honest, I am coming around more on this Jeremiah Love. Now, again, as of right now, I would not do it if I were the Titans. I believe getting a elite edge rusher is harder to find than finding a playmaking running back. So if I'm the Titans, that's the direction I'm going. If they were to pick Jeremiah Love, I'm not going to scoff at it. I'm not going to berate it or anything, but it's something to think about.
Well, it depends on what your definition is. What did you say a minute ago about running backs?
They're easier to find than elite edge rushers.
What did you call the running back? Playmaker. Okay. There are any number of playmakers. To pick that guy at number 4, he had better be elite.
Yep. And with the wide receivers too, because I've seen, Jordan Tyson, Carnell Tate, Mekhi Lemon, they're getting a lot of conversation. I wouldn't feel comfortable drafting any of those guys in the top 10. That's just me personally. I believe it's a deep wide receiver class, but there aren't elite prospects in the wide receiver room, I feel like. I would be happy with getting a Mekhi Lemon later in the first round, but not top 10. Same thing with Jordan Tyson. The hamstring injury, it kind of scares me a little bit. Carnell Tate may be the best receiver in this class, but I'm not taking him with the 4th overall pick.
Not that you can operate like this, because you can't, but the Titans' level of success in the wide receiver world is abysmal.
Corey Davis,
over the years,
Burks.
it's bad.
Yeah,
going back
really
to
bad.
Yancey Thigpen.
And again, the quarterback spoke to the media today. Diego Pavia spoke. Joey Aguilar. I know I'm going to listen to them talk after the show. Let's get into some college basketball, George, because it's a loaded weekend. Tomorrow, lots of ranked matchups, starting with Virginia and Duke. And I don't know how much Virginia you've watched.
I've watched plenty.
I've personally been very impressed every time I've watched them play. They're 25-3. They're flying under the radar. They're 13-2 in the ACC, but they play at Cameron Indoor tomorrow. And we know how good Duke is.
Thus, Duke. Because, look, until somebody beats Duke in Cameron, I'm not believing that until I see it. Now, Virginia is really good. And I don't really know why they've flown under the radar a little bit, because when we list the schools that we think have national title, real possibilities, Virginia never comes up, because to a point, they don't seem to have the high wire act, the superstar. It's a collection of really good teammates. They're tough, but not tough enough to win at Cameron.
No. Tess DeRitter, 16 points per game. Malik Thomas, 12.3. Sam Lewis, 10.9. Chance Mallory, 10.2. 4 players averaging double digits scoring. Really good team basketball, but George is right. They don't have that superstar, but man, Ryan Odom has done a phenomenal job in year one, getting a collection of transfers, guys from all over the world to play together. I'm really excited for that one tomorrow. And then, of course, the Big 12 is going to deliver, because we have Kansas and Houston, or Kansas and Arizona at 3:00 on ESPN. And
Games at Arizona.
Yep.
There's your winner.
Arizona's 8.5-point favorite.
There's your winner.
Texas Tech and Iowa State. Texas Tech without JT Toppin.
Yeah, where is that game?
It's at Hilton.
Yeah, I think you got your winner there. It sounds like I'm doing nothing but going home teams, but oftentimes in these kind of matchups, it's who's at home. Iowa State's going to get all over Texas Tech. They swarm on defense. They are really good. And in that building, they're doubly tough.
And also, too, going back to the by the way, both of these games are at the same time.
Toppin out for the year?
He's done. Yeah,
Ooh.
He's done. So I don't know how that's going to affect their tournament run, of course. Texas Tech, Iowa State, 3 p.m. on CBS. Kansas and Arizona, 3 p.m. on ESPN, the exact same time. But going back to the Kansas-Arizona, too, George, I know Arizona has the home court advantage, but Kansas is coming off that win at Houston. This does seem like one of those letdowns.
Not at Houston.
Or at Fogg against Houston.
Okay, and therein lies the rub. Okay, their 2 big wins, at home against Houston, at home against Arizona. What's the big road win with Kansas?
I don't know.
This is a great opportunity for them.
Sure.
They're just not going to deliver.
Nope. And they're just one of those teams just so hot and cold. Lost to Cincinnati last Saturday, unexpectedly. Cincinnati shot the lights out. And going to be a big test tomorrow. Alabama and Tennessee. Is Tennessee going to get the sweep, George?
I think they are. I think in the end, this comes down to defense more than it does offense. Tennessee proved in Tuscaloosa they can guard Alabama. When Alabama doesn't get open threes, they're in trouble. I just think Tennessee's more solid than Bama. What's the number on that?
4.5 in favor of the Vols.
Tennessee.
And Griff brought up a great point. Alabama leads the country in scoring. Tennessee's given up 69.5 points per game. Tennessee is the second best rebounding team in the SEC, right behind Florida, but Florida's putting up historical numbers on the rebounding front. I'm interested to see how this one shakes out. I'm interested to see how Ament responds after, can't believe this, but 13 points is least scoring output since, I believe it was Texas when he scored 6 points back in early January. LeBaron Philon's been playing fantastic, but George is right. A team that lives and dies by the three. So if Tennessee can get them rattled early on that front, I see this being a huge advantage for the Vols. And then the game that you'll be at, George, Vanderbilt and Kentucky. The problem is, George, I've been trying to figure this out, and I can't, to be honest, because no one has Kentucky figured out. I just don't know which Kentucky team you're going to get tomorrow.
Well, there's a lot of difference between them being on the road and them being at Rupp. First of all, Kentucky's a 1-point favorite. In the 55 years that I've watched this, I don't remember, first of all, I don't remember Vandy ever being a favorite at Rupp. This is the closest line I've ever seen in that game in Lexington. So, yeah, there are a lot of question marks to it. What we see out of Kentucky is exactly what Mark put out there earlier. There's a little bit of me about them, but there's also 22,000 that really can help them in that building. And I've always thought when you play them there and you're the visitor, you better take a timeout, a possession or two earlier than most buildings, and stop whatever it is that crowd is getting going. Because if you've never been to Rupp, it's like a feeding frenzy.
It felt like we were at Rupp.
All in blue.
It felt like we were at Rupp in December when they were playing Gonzaga. The Boo Birds came out early. So loaded SEC slate tomorrow. Even tomorrow night. I'm interested in this one. Arkansas and Florida.
Ooh.
And this is in Gainesville. So Florida is a 10.5 point favorite, which the way Florida's been playing, it's pretty understandable why. But George, I think Arkansas, again, this is one of those, if they get in the right situation, I think they can make a deep run and come March. I do.
Here's what I see in Arkansas. Arkansas is one of these feeding frenzy kind of deals. They go on runs. They go on runs that are good. They go on runs where their concentration level isn't as good. They let A&M back in that game. What was it, Wednesday night?
Yeah.
They let A&M back in the game. A&M had been down as many as 16.
Right.
And suddenly you look up and it's down like to 4. Well, that's the kind of thing when you go to Florida with that team, you can't have those lulls.
Yeah.
You're
not getting away with that.
Now, does Arkansas have the raw athletic ability? Sure they do.
Yeah. But Florida, to me, Ruben Chinyalu has been one of the most improved players in the country, I think. He's a top 15 finisher for the Wooden Award or midseason, whatever. One of the better defensive players in the country. I think he's the X factor tomorrow. George, I think Florida's front court is good enough to get them back to a Final Four like they were a year ago. It's just the guard play. They don't have a lot of depth at guard because they have Xavier Lee, they have Boogie Flan, but outside of that, they don't really have a lot of guards.
Might be enough.
Could be. Thomas Howe.
I really like Florida. I'm telling you, when I saw them here in January, when they beat Vandy, it wasn't because Vandy didn't play well.
Right.
Vandy didn't lose the game. Florida won it.
Florida, yeah.
I came away from that game going, wow, Florida. Maybe you don't get that every night, but they've been pretty consistent. Florida, let me look this up real quick. Florida is 22-6. They've had a really nice year. Arkansas is 21-7. That one's worth watching.
And Florida's most recent win coming on the road at Texas.
Did you say Florida by 10?
Florida 10.5 favorite. Yeah.
Too many.
So they're on an 8-game win streak. Arkansas won against Texas A&M on Wednesday night. Again, had that 16-point lead, and then all of a sudden you look up and it's a 4-point lead, let them back in the game. Can't afford to do that against Florida. And then I implore the audience, if you've never watched one of these games, it is well worth staying up for. And that's Gonzaga and St. Mary's. 9:30 on ESPN. George, they were showing this on the broadcast last night, Michigan State and Purdue, of the most times that coaches have met in a regular season. And they showed Randy Bennett. That's his name, right? Randy Bennett for St. Mary's.
Yeah.
And Mark Few for Gonzaga, how many times they've met in the regular season. It's phenomenal. These games are so entertaining to watch. I really enjoy it.
It's a really nice rivalry, and it's more of a rivalry when Gonzaga has to go on the road.
This is at St. Mary's.
Yeah,
so.
at Gonzaga, they've kind of dominated. This will be a really good game. If you come in from wherever at 9:30, Parker's right. Turn it on. It'll be a really entertaining game. Neither one of them are going to win the NCAA title, but it'll be really entertaining.
Yeah, the West Coast projected to get 3 teams in because Santa Clara's in the last 4. So,
yep.
Yeah, Gonzaga 1.5-point favorite tomorrow, and I'm actually going to show you this a little bit later towards the end of the show, but that is going to be a very fun game. And then on Sunday, I actually think it's a decent slate for Sunday. Michigan State and Indiana. Indiana, one of the last 4 in, according to Lenardi. And then Ohio State, they just keep finding ways to stick around. They host Purdue on Sunday at 12:30 on CBS.
So Indiana lost to Northwestern, and I'm not saying they would have won the game, but it was one of the real hosings that's happened. Tucker DeVries, who I'm a huge fan of, son of the coach at Indiana, they're down 3. He goes up for a 3, and Northwestern's guy hits him on the wrist. They don't call the foul. Northwestern wins. Tucker DeVries goes nuts, which he should have. They blew it. They got hosed. He's a great player. I think he'd have hit all 3, but who knows?
Yeah, Tucker DeVries is great. And Darian DeVries, I'm a big fan of him as well. So Indiana, again, one of the last 4, and they have Michigan State. I've been loving watching Michigan State play. So Purdue and Ohio State as well. That is on Sunday.
Well, it's the kind of win that Indiana needs. Did I say Indiana was one of the last 4 in?
Yeah.
So it's the kind of win they need, a credibility win.
So if I'm reading this correctly, Lenardi has them as the last 4 in, and they would be playing Santa Clara in kind of that first
in
4
Dayton.
game. Yeah. So,
well, I got news for you. If Indiana plays Santa Clara in Dayton, that's not a Santa Clara home game.
You think the Hoosiers would show up for that one?
Think about the geography.
The Hoosiers would show up. If anything that we learned about this football season, they'll show up. They will show up for their teams. And let's go ahead and head to our last break of the show. And when we come back, we'll wrap with some more headlines and sports. And reluctantly, I'll show my bets for the weekend, and George can make fun of me if things don't go well. This
and I will.
Is the George Plaster Show.
When I got my first car, my dad told me, keep the gas tank full and my number on speed dial. Now parents are telling their kids, save 615-242-9000 just in case. I'm Blair Durham. If you or someone you love is in a wreck, call us. We're here to get you the money you deserve.
As the trusted premier custom home builder in Middle Tennessee, Donnelly Timmons has over 20 years of experience in the industry. Whether you're looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and every remodel is unique, luxurious, and completed on time within budget. Founders Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly have over 25 years of construction experience in the Nashville area. Together, they have completed projects in Forest Hills, Oak Hill, Green Hills, Franklin, and Brentwood. Dustin and Joey believe that communication is the most important aspect of all construction projects. Therefore, they personally manage each project themselves and are involved in job site activities on a daily basis. Their commitment to quality and integrity has earned them an outstanding reputation among their clients. Contact them to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects. Give them a call at 615-456-7983 or log on to DonnellyTimmons.com.
If you are paying too much for your health insurance, you know what? You need to contact the folks at Pancoast Benefits. Pancoast works with businesses and individuals to tackle the high cost of health insurance. Whether you're a business owner, large or small, self-employed, between jobs, or over the age of 65 and in need of a Medicare plan, Pancoast can help. They make understanding your benefits less difficult and more personal. So check them out today, pancoastbenefits.com, or call them at 615-292-3400. Sports and Social in Green Hills Mall is the new home for our Football Night in Nashville promotion. Their food is terrific. Their TV setup looks like a racing sports book in Vegas. And if you're a sports fan, you can't beat it. Starting September the 4th, we'll broadcast from Sports and Social every Thursday night. There's Pop-A-Shot, great football, and the chance to win a beautiful Mikey's Motors golf cart. See you at Sports and Social in Green Hills Mall.
Dr. Gill?
Yes.
I have it ready whenever you're ready. Some quick news and notes. We do have an update on the Vandy boys as they are taking on UC Irvine. They are up, and when I say they, I mean Vandy. They are up 3-2 on UC Irvine, top of the third. Connor Fennell is on the mound for the Vandy boys, and we'll flip over to the other team in the state, Tennessee. They're down 5-1 in the bottom of the sixth. Bases are loaded for the Vols with one out. Again, UCLA, the number one team in the country, Tennessee at number 20. So a little college baseball update. And should I show my weekend bets, George, or you want to go Dr. Gill?
Well, given that your picks cause the level of pain that they do, I'd say Dr. Gill first.
I do need some Dr. Gill.
Yeah, well, then hit it.
If you are struggling with back pain, neck pain, or stubborn nerve pain that hasn't responded to the usual medications or injections, listen closely. At the Dr. Gill Center, we help patients discover why they hurt and how to find relief without surgery. We are Middle Tennessee's leaders in back pain treatment and non-surgical spinal decompression, a gentle advanced technology designed to reduce pressure on the spine, restore space between discs, and help the body heal naturally. Our patients aren't just looking for another temporary fix. They want expertise. They want options they haven't been offered. They want a team that actually listens. And that's exactly what you'll find at the Dr. Gill Center. If you've been told there's nothing else to try or surgery is next, it's time for a different approach. Call 615-882-4838 or visit callmepainfree.com to schedule a comprehensive evaluation and see if non-surgical spinal decompression is right for you. Make 2026 the year you get out of pain. Call 615-882-4838 today.
So let me say this about them. They're really good. And if you have just settled into sort of this, well, I'm getting older and this is just a pain I'm going to have to live with. That's what they're trying to get you out of. An initial consultation, is $49. You know what? It may be the best $49 that you ever spend.
And I may need to visit the folks at the Dr. Gill Center because this week has been very painful monetarily.
It's been embarrassing.
Been embarrassing, to say the very least. George, I did snap the skid yesterday. I stopped the bleeding. The Preds, thank you for winning last night versus the Chicago Blackhawks 4-2. And I'm 21-24. And may I go as far to say that the losing streak is over because I have a line of winners here, George. You want to take a look?
Yeah.
Miami, Ohio, tonight, 11.5 at Western Michigan. George, not only does Miami win tonight, but they're going to finish the regular season undefeated.
That picture looks like you have gas.
I probably did in this picture. This is my college headshot, actually.
Is that so?
And that's a tie.
Okay.
So that is my first pick right there. Miami, Ohio, 11.5 at Western Michigan. Then I have Michigan tonight on the road at Illinois. I think this is going to be a fantastic game. I just think Michigan is they're just too talented.
Good. I'm going Illinois.
Actually,
wins this game outright.
Okay. First disagreement. Arizona, 8.5 at Kansas. This just boils down to home court. It's in Tucson. I'm going Arizona.
I don't disagree.
8.5, too big?
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, that's a tough environment in Tucson.
And this anomaly that happened on Wednesday night with St. John's and UConn, I've never seen it before. George, I don't think you've seen it either, where a team goes 17 minutes without making a single field goal. That happened to St. John's, and they got blown out against UConn.
That is a new one for me.
Never seen anything like it. They have Villanova. I can't remember. Maybe a 6 seed, I think, in the tournament. 6, 7, 8, somewhere in there. Another Big East. I think the Big East is projected to get 3 teams in, Villanova being the 3rd. I think this will be a great ball game. St. John's a 5.5-point favorite. I do think they respond. And George, this game is at Villanova, so I'm taking St. John's minus 5.5.
Wait a minute. Hold on a second. That's at Villanova?
At Villanova. Wait, no, it's not. I lied. It's at St. John's.
Okay.
Madison Square Garden. Yep. Agree?
Yeah.
Okay. How about that? Florida, 9.5. This line has actually moved to 10.5 since I last checked. So Florida, 9.5-point favorite versus Arkansas. This game in Gainesville. Again, boils down to home court. I think the Gators are one of the best teams in America right now. On an 8-game win streak, I'm going Florida minus the points, plus the points.
I'm going the other way. I'm going Arkansas.
Arkansas to cover?
Yeah.
All right. And then St. Mary's. I just have a weird feeling about this. I have a weird feeling. This game is at St. Mary's, and I think St. Mary's is going to pull this one out. Now, if this was at Gonzaga, I'd definitely be leaning with the Zags, but just because it's at St. Mary's, I just have a weird feeling that St. Mary's is going to pull it off.
There's nothing about Gonzaga that St. Mary's can't handle except for Graham Ike. They don't have any answers for him.
He is a load.
And that should be the concern for St. Mary's. They're good enough everywhere else, but they don't have an answer for him.
Now, again, if this was at Gonzaga, I would be picking the Zags. So just to recap, Miami of Ohio, minus 11 at Western Michigan. I'm going Michigan minus 1.5 at Illinois. Both of those games are tonight. Arizona, minus 8.5 versus Kansas. That game in Tucson. That is at 1 p.m. on ESPN. Then you have St. John's versus Villanova, Madison Square Garden. The Red Storm minus 5.5. I'm going Florida. Now this line has moved to 10.5. I'm going Florida minus the points versus Arkansas, and St. Mary's plus 1.5 versus Gonzaga.
In spite of your excitement level about this, you will soon be relieved of your duties.
Thank goodness.
And I'm going to tell people, just so there's a little honesty in this, what's going on. So I go for a second voice therapy deal on Tuesday. And if it's deemed that I'm ready, and I think I am, then we'll kind of take it slow where I'll do an hour as hosting. Parker will do an hour, and then we'll see how long it takes And eventually, sometime in 2026, I'll host.
That's as specific as we'll get on that.
Yeah, because I don't know.
You're sounding better though.
Yeah.
So rest has certainly paid off. Any other games that you're looking forward to this week that I left off the list besides Vanderbilt and Kentucky, obviously?
I'm absolutely shocked at that line. I had mentally put a number together that I thought it would be, which was Kentucky 3.5.
I didn't see a line when I checked this morning. That must have just updated, at least on ESPN.
Well, I've got it right here.
Yeah.
Kentucky is 1. I cannot ever remember at Rupp Arena, cannot ever remember a line that was that tight, because there have been some absolute blowouts. I mean, there's one of colossal proportion going back to Kevin's era at Vandy, where they got annihilated by like 60.
I did want to ask, because I thought this guy in particular played a great game on Wednesday night versus Georgia, and that's Devin McLaughlin. How much of an X factor do you think he plays in the game tomorrow?
Well, they need him to be able to hit some threes to force Kentucky to come out on him.
What about as far as rebounding?
It was a big problem against Tennessee. In fact, it was a huge problem, and it surprised me to the level that it was. Tennessee's really good on the boards, no doubt. We know that. I thought they'd have trouble. I didn't think they'd have that much trouble. Don't think they'll have nearly that problem in Lexington.
It should be very exciting.
I hope it is.
Great slate of games tomorrow. And by the way, Tennessee scored three runs in the bottom of the 6th. They trail 5-4 against the number 1 team in the country in UCLA. That game on Flow Sports. Unfortunately, I'm not able to watch, so just keeping up with the live stats. George, great job this week. We'll be back at it again next Monday.
See all of you. Have a good weekend.